Here we have an open vent design crawl space. And the first thing I notice is that there's mold growth on the access door and that there's a strong musty odor inside the crawl space. I see that water has been wicking up the cinder blocks and that there's pooling in this particular spot in the crawl space. This is a crawl space that has multiple layers of plastic, and it's causing condensation to form and moisture to be trapped in between the layers. The ground is very mushy. This is an excellent place for insects to hang out. You can see all the different track marks of something. Here is an additional crawl space. You can see the bacteria that's growing in this area. You can see where it's more constantly wet in the lower area. The wood is treated and it actually looks okay in regards to no mold growth. There is some, but nothing to be concerned about. In regards to fixing the crawl space issues, this crawl space would most likely just be left alone, but yet sealed from the main crawl space, so the moisture in here is not contributing to the moisture in the main space. Here we have a distribution box in which the ductwork has mold growth on it, and it has it because at times it condensates, and that's what's causing this clear water to form on the plastic. And then our concern is that the ductwork is not sealed, so all these little holes allow the mold that's growing on the ductwork to be drawn into the HVAC system and then spread throughout the house. Here's an area where we have plumbing penetrations and there's some mold growing on the PEX, no, not PEX, but CPVC plumbing. And the discoloration in the insulation is because air is moving through here, and air's moving right into the home through the plumbing penetrations. And you can see that there's mold buildup here. So this is kind of worst case scenario where you have mold growing on the wood and it's able to enter into the house. Here is a second distribution box, and again we have joints that are not sealed. All of these leaks are a waste on the system in that it pumps conditioned air into the crawl space, and then when the system's off it allows air from the crawl space to go into the home, and there's mold on the ductwork. Good news is it's not overgrown on the wood. You can see it on the wiring, but the wood for the most part looks like it hasn't been colonized. Most of the mold actually is on the ductwork and on the plastic barrier. See if you can hear this debris rattle around in the ductwork. And then this dryer vent line, that's a really dense sound. That happens because the duct itself is loaded with lint, and it vents out right there. All the seals are good. Here's an example of why we don't like plastic. It causes condensation to form. And then where the plastic is not covered, the moisture is able to move over to that area, and that allows for insects and bacteria to grow. And then somebody's living in here. We've got numerous holes, mice, either rodents or snake, that is living in here. This spot here is kind of a rainmaker. When the temperatures are right, most likely this is condensating. That's why it's rusting and you have all these spots. And then this moisture drips down onto here, which is not so bad, except that this is open to the main crawl space. So it increases the humidity in the main crawl space. So this is kind of a humidifier. And since there's no foundation vents, it's not like you can just separate this off like we did the other area underneath the porch. Most likely here we'll recommend foil foam going up the walls and leaving the ground open, preferably putting gravel, leveling it out and putting gravel on top of it so that when it does condensate, the water is able to be absorbed. Here I've dropped some of the insulation to look at the subfloor, and I don't see any visual mold on it, and I don't see any condensation around the boots. So in this particular crawl space, it looks like you could go ahead and treat the wood and then run a foil liner on the ground and up the walls, and you'll have a really nice performing crawl space in that we can guarantee there'll be no more condensation on the ductwork. Here is the low spot of the crawl space. The condenser is just outside, and so there's a drain in here. There's a lot of roots here. This line is pretty much clogged with them. See if we can find the discharge point. I don't know how effective this is at removing moisture from the crawl space. This area is low. I see water there pooling under the air handler, caused from condensation coming off the bottom of the air handler. This might be a good place for a sump pump or changing the grade so it is actually able to flow out so that we're not getting these higher water lines. In North Carolina, there are two building codes for crawl spaces. Hopefully this video will help you decide which one is right for you. Typical open-vented crawl spaces in North Carolina have moisture, mold, insect, and radon issues. This is a concern because in the summer and winter air rises. This draws damp, moldy, smelly air from your crawl space into the living areas. One solution to this is a closed crawl space, which uses 100% ground coverage, subfloor or wall insulation, a drying mechanism or exhaust fan. A problem with plastic liners are the off-gassing of chemicals, micro-punctures created during installation, and the offensive urine odor caused by bacteria living underneath the liner. So which do you prefer, musty odors or chemical odors? Here at Indoor Environmental Systems, we prefer to use a foil foam insulation liner which covers the ground and the walls. This is the best for indoor air quality and energy efficiency, since there are no chemical odors, moisture, mold, insects, or radon, and it significantly reduces energy loss into the ground. The typical crawl space remediation consists of mold removal, installing an insulation liner on the ground and walls, using a drying method such as a crawl space supply vent, dehumidifier, or foundation vent exhaust fan. Mold removal depends on the extent of the contamination. Therefore, insulation may or may not be removed. Colonized mold is removed in preparation for a mold treatment. Clean Seal is a non-toxic, low-odor, quick-drying coating which prevents mold growth. It comes with a manufacturer's lifetime warranty that states no toxic microorganisms shall penetrate the treated surfaces, nor shall any such microorganisms or toxic gases emerge from beneath a treated surface. Crawl space drying mechanisms. They consist of three: the crawl space supply vent, a dehumidifier, or an exhaust ventilation fan. Crawl space supply vents are a low cost and no maintenance option. Crawl space dehumidifiers provide dependable humidity control, yet require maintenance. The foundation vent exhaust fan is great because it stops this rising of pollutants from the crawl space into the living area. The exhaust fans or fan are placed in foundation vents and come with automatic temperature and humidity controls. Other considerations may be a crawl space drain or sump pump, diverting rainwater, as well as landscape modifications. A crawl space drain will release rainwater from below the liner and drain away water from plumbing breaks. A sump pump may be needed if flooding or rising water is a concern. Capturing rainwater and diverting it away from the home is helpful. A simple, low-maintenance option is to divert rainwater and termites by installing a metal and stone landscape border. It's beneficial to discharge water far away from your home and use a lawnmower safe pop-up. Indoor Environmental Systems provides code-approved R13 foundation wall insulated closed crawl spaces. Our crawl spaces are energy efficient and guaranteed to not condensate or grow mold. We have the best system for indoor air quality because of no mold, radon, volatile organic compounds, or insects, and it meets the North Carolina Building Code. Indoor Environmental Systems provides indoor air quality since 1992. We are the oldest mold remediation company in Raleigh, Cary, Durham, Chapel Hill. We have best practices, lifetime warranties, and award-winning Angie's List customer service. Because of our experience, knowledge, and integrity, we can see the big picture and recommend what's best for you. Thank you from the crew at Indoor Environmental Systems.